heading straight in towards Factory as well. This is really dangerous. Alpha, they need to quickly reposition if they want to live another circle. Question is, where is this next circle going to bring us though, Husky?
Yeah, I hope we go towards Factory. That would be
to flank around towards the southern side as well, spotting out Team Fluxo, makes the right decision to back away, because out in the open, it's not like they can't take a fight, but you're going to be using a lot of your resources, losing a lot of your glue walls, medkits, just absorbing those shots. That's not a fight you want to take. Very smart play from the Bangladeshi squad.
Yeah, we even see them use another binoculars to scan out the same area that they came from. And Core Memory, they just got spotted out, shots were fired, and this could cascade into a full-blown fight between at least 5 different squads at Factory.
Oh yeah. AGAL, one of the returning squads as well. Hailing from Thailand, we want to see more from them. And obviously, the bigger question is whether or not Dew is going to be in his top performance today, because we've seen time and time again, whenever Dew is not hitting those long shots, you just don't see AGAL walking away with a lot of points.
One of the few players that has experienced the lowest of point in his career, right? The biggest heartbreak, and still stuck around. Through thick or thin, he came close to a World Championship title, 2-3 years ago, and then he never got the same achievement after that.
Look at that. Something so rare, man. The portal goal being used after so many seasons.
That is an expensive investment, but it did put Core Memory in a decent position.
Yeah.
But I do feel if this circle closes down to the southern side, Core Memory are going to have to jump.
I think this is a brilliant play from Core Memory, using that portal go to get on top of the silo. They've got that bird's eye vision. They've got the long-range weapons in their hands as well. You've got the Woodpecker on their side. You've got the AC-80 that is spotted out as well. I will not be surprised if one of them got to their airdrop to pull out an AWM. But we have to catch up with them in a little bit. AGAL, as they rotate around, the bigger question is, will they be able to find the players of hot shots before they find them? Because this next circle is going to be really important, and quite a number of teams are betting on the fact that it's going to be at Factory, and that is where we go. So AGAL is most definitely going to be pulled straight towards Team Hot Shots, and this is just not good for business. Fluxo on the way into that circle as well. There's a potential 3-way outside the circle, because neither one of these 3 squads can sneak in towards that next zone undetected.
This is such a Fluxo thing to do, right? Playing it slow. We know that they like Mars Electric, and there's a good chance that that's where they're looking to take over. But with this circle moving close to the western side of the map, I think Fluxo might just think about booking it straight into Evil's Divine and Red Hawks, and maybe giving AGAL a free pass towards Pochino, where they will meet up with Hot Shot. Finally, the southern side of Clock Tower is where Team Falcons have perched their birds for now.
Rain Gaming, a team that we haven't highlighted all that too much just yet. Qualifying in here from the 4th spot out of Brazil. Built for the big stage for sure, despite being overshadowed by Fluxo pretty much all the time. This is a squad that has got consistency built into them. You want to see a little bit out of that as well. Recent top 6 in the global finish as well. So this is a team that brings in a lot of promise to the ZWC stage.
You see the airdrop collected by Team Falcon, so they were able to finally take their time and get ready for the end game, right?
Yeah, that's a big play there.
It's incredible. The fact that they were able to really read the situation right, understanding that most teams are going to head for the circle, and Fluxo likes to play south side. Yeah. Falcons got the entire north arsenal to themselves, and now they're ready to begin a potential siege into Factory, but I think the smarter way is to wait for Alpha 34 or Evil's Divine to start an engagement.
Yeah, and you know we are on standby for some pandemonium. 12 minutes in, 10 squads still alive and kicking. Each and every single squad stacked with players. 40 players out there on the battlefield right now. And this circle is going to get a tad bit too tight in a couple of seconds. This does not look good for some of them who are outside of Factory, baby.
And I can't believe AGAL ran into Fluxo. MT7 needs to go, but at least they found Horace Dew with the backup of the rest of his team, and the play zone knocking down MT7. Fluxo down to just Bobs against the might of AGAL. This could be his final resting spot on Bermuda. Bobs has nowhere to go, takes the launch pad, wants to escape, but Cypher says no. Fluxo are out.
As anticipated, they bump into each other on the way towards Factory, and Fluxo, unfortunate in the first bout, the first engagement they get into, they walk away with just 1 point on their side. But of course, they've managed to take away a player from the side of AGAL. Perhaps that will punish them a little bit later on. Virtus Pro circling on in. Hot shot. Can't get the job done just yet. And Pain Gaming showing them exactly how to get the job done. Action stealing away Diamond from their hands. Pain Gaming a tad bit annoyed, but they will go all out to shut down Hot Shots as well, who have not gotten into the Factory compound just yet.
Virtus Pro, a desperate move to beeline into Factory, did not pay off at all. Completely sandwiched by 2 different squads. And because of that hot shot, they now get some room to breathe. They have ended up alerting Pain Gaming of their position, but it is still a far gap to close. We see even on the kill feed, Red Hawks, they are starting to make their presence known.
Okay, X-Posy now needs to start to move. He's got the VSK in hand. Good rate of fire off of that sniper. But the question is, if you bump into too many players, what can you do?
Red Hawks took out AGAL. That is impressive.
Very.
And here comes the siege. Next on the list going to be Evo's Divine. Not an easy one, but Flicker, you see the smile on his face. They're feeling really confident about this.
Yeah, man, this is not the kind of zone you want to be flirting with. And Red Hawks circling on in. And this time it's going to be up against Esports. But Nate from afar. Rasia wants a piece of this and he finds Scooters. Coach Hill with the God Nate. Ray with the M590 looking for one for himself as well. They won't find the glue walls first. And quickly repositioning. Smart play out of the Indonesians. Flicker, the final one standing here for the side of Red Hawks.
Impressive, just perfect frag from Kochu to set the team up for success. Red Hawks runs in game 1 ends right here. Virtus Pro also out of the equation. And now we're down to just 6 teams. Evo's Divine now having to come into Factory for the perimeter. They gotta deal with Falcons.
Yeah, as expected, back-to-back eliminations here, just way too crowded. But surprisingly, the action hasn't gotten out of hand just yet. And look at Falcons, man, from being close to wiped out, they are now one of the top 6 squads, and they are all geared up for victory here. Peter and squad, they've got the loot needed, they've got the weapons needed as well to find dominance in this final circle. See exactly how they circle around as Core Memory Esports needs to now get out of this Factory.
That silo play early on is paying off. They get such a good position to work with, eliminating Hotshot Esports in the process. And we see now the battlefield is starting to light up. Team Falcons making their presence known, taking out the members of Pain Gaming and Alpha 34. The Brazilians completely vanquished.
Yeah, 6 eliminations, make that 8 now for the side of Falcons. Core Memory Esports circles around, looking for a victim. They will find nothing except an empty part of this circle. Great position to hold on to. Falcons up against EVOS on the other hand. From the wall, those MGL shots are going to find the connection, but for the time being, there's a little bit of a peace treaty between the two.
Core Memory is just going to let this play out on the northern side. There's nothing that they need to worry about except for a moving circle, which they will start to lean into. But for Evo's Divine, making it past this wall is going to be a mountainous task with Falcons guarding it.
Oh, fantastic. As the circle now looking for the reposition. 3 squads left in here, all from Southeast Asia, 2 from Thailand, 1 from Indonesia. Who walks away with the very first booyah of the day? Kororo has got the weapon of doom, the M79, grenade launcher in hand, trying to lob those nades over the wall. And immediately as the Indonesians hear that, they back away from that wall, wanting nothing to do with his weapon. But the question is, can they play this circle without putting themselves in danger? The first team to rotate around usually is the first team to get punished. And the Riptide Rhythm breaking down the defenses of Core Memory. Ray wants a piece of this. Rosa in hand. Cougar just not the right weapon for a CQC and runs straight in with the Oscar. The Valiant Dash drops the players. And it is EVOS that crushes Core Memory.
A Valiant Dash in vain. And Evo's Divine now stands toe-to-toe with Team Falcons. We've seen this play out last year in the final round of the Grand Finals. Deja vu for both teams, but both teams with a new face overall. And now Evo's Divine, they sort of know where Falcons are going to come in from. Rasia is going to be the key.
First time the Valiant Dash making its appearance here at EWC, and it's such a solid play as well from the side of EVOS. On fire, has got the weapon of doom. M590 in hand, aim god looking for one, but all he finds is the floor. Coach Shield finds the back of a player from the side of Falcons. Peter hanging on for his dear life alongside On Fire, and Falcons from champions of the previous year, EWC 24, to champions of Bermuda as we open up Free Fire and EWC 25.
Just like what most people would expect, Team Falcons once more rings in the first ever opening win, setting another benchmark for the Free Fire EWC 25. But I gotta say, this final circle brings back so many core memories from last year. Evo's Divine once more came close, but the kryptonite have always been the Falcons.
Your number 1 and number 2 squads from EWC 24 appearing in the final circle of the very first opener match. Dude, it seems like we scripted this. It cannot get any better than this, Huskies.
There's no way that we could write a script that is as good as this. But it really sets the precedence for the rest of the team. And even when we look at some of the competitors that were knocked out early on, I gotta say, teams like Red Hawks also made a splash. Hotshot Esports also made an impact by threatening teams like Virtus Pro as we approach the end game. I think if you're Evo's Divine, there's nothing to be disappointed about that round 1. Rasia put up a hell of a show, but at the end of the day, when you're up against Falcons, you have to be at 101%.
And Red Hawks managing to shut down AGL as they were desperately trying to get in towards that factory compound. That was perfect. We wanted to see more from the squad out of Bangladesh, and we get to see exactly what they're worth. Red Hawks definitely in the top half of our leaderboard, as we're going to spot it in a little bit. But this was a phenomenal start of the day. We're going to be taking a quick short break, guys. When we come back, it's game number 2 at Purgatory, baby.
Triple kill.
ไหนหรอ
มาดิเล่นได้กดซ้ายไล่ซ้าย
ตีแล้วไปดิ
ไปเขียนไล่ซ้ายเลย
สกัดเลยนะร้อยได้กันแล้วตี
เป็นโดนใบอยู่นะเว้ยโดนใบอยู่
ไม่ต้องรีบบอกขวามาคนนั้นนี่
M7 จะหมดเหรอเพื่อน
เก็บปืน
รอดูกูหน่อย
หน้ากูเต็มเลย
มึงรีบได้ปะ
ได้อยู่4 ได้
จ่อยวอลได้ปะปาเฟต
ร้อยนึงข้างในเนี่ยชิด
กูมีออดก้านะเว้ย
ขวาเนี่ยกูมีเหมือนกันที่2นั้นหรอขวาเนี่ยตัวเดียวเจนกดตัวนี้ไว้
ปัดกูเฮียโดนดาวแต่ได้บ้านเปีเตอร์มึงกูหน่อยดิเดี๋ยว
กูเล่าพี่เจน
The calm before the storm as we see Falcons' point of view before they secure the first ever booyah here at Free Fire at EWC 25. And one of the storylines for the team going into EWC was the fact that there was a lot of uncertainty. The roster had changed vastly. We only had On Fire left. And so people questioned whether Falcons were going to be able to bring it back. And I mean, I think this is enough proof in the pudding, gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We were not expecting Peter to go back. Thus, like, it's only on fire that we only saw in that video. But Peter finally showed up. Finally, like, really ramp up the game of Team Falcons, and this is the result.
I think for the most part of it, at least we see that on fire. As soon as they got that initial pick, I wish we had like an English Thai member a part of our group, because then we can understand what's going on with the comms. We saw them take it really slow, but that sudden pick onto Aim God just opens a lot of opportunity for the team to start flooding on in.
Well, I felt them like really energetic, right? So I think it was like good words, maybe, but I would like to know too.
Absolutely. Now here's the match rankings for our previous matchup. Team Falcons sitting on the top of the nest, because we did have the Falcons nest here in Riyadh, and already off to a great start. First game of the day, first on top of the leaderboard, securing a whopping number of points. Some other teams though, not so great performances. I know, Raja, we had a quick discussion during that break just now. The Brazilian team's looking a little bit slow today.
Yeah, I think it's because the AJ team, the teams from Asia, they normally are more aggressive, and I think Fluxo is feeling something now that they just got wiped out really fast. So I think they need to improve more the game, like be more aggressive maybe, because as I'm saying, like right now, Thai teams and Indonesian teams, they are really fast. Like they wiped every squad like really fast, and I couldn't even like blink my eyes, and then everything just everything it's
done.
It's done. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Gideon,
Yes.
you mentioned to us just now on the panel during that break, lots of active skills being utilized this match.
Yes, no. Again, after we saw the initial patch come on through, we're thinking that maybe Tatsuya is just, dead in the water, right? Is there any use for him still, especially unless, you are guaranteed to almost secure a kill? You must always go in as two. You must always look to try and find these eliminations fast and then start kind of snowballing out of control. But now I feel like the game has taken a more tactical approach, right? Great utilization of Oscar, and not to forget, of course, you got to pair it up. Those Riptide rhythms still as deadly as ever to open to those holes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you have a great sniper, the Skylar, the Riptide Rhythm, that is a must. Now, the Oscar, though, probably it's because of the 1st of July changes for Tatsuya, so we barely see, like, Tatsuya being used. Oscar, that's a great play. It was pointed out by the caster earlier how they managed to use that in perfection. And as you mentioned, Raja, I mean, as quickly as that, they managed to eliminate a squad.
Yeah, and then Neptune, I think you put EVOS as one of your top picks, right? Okay, why did EVOS really fall short in that matchup? Because they looked really good in the initial fight. It was just that last closing battle with Falcons. Like, where did they kind of fall short here? Was it positioning? Was it a weapon disadvantage? Like, what really held them back here?
I think they're trying to keep distance because Razia, the sniper of the team, usually it's a 3-1 split for them. And because it is a small circle already, there's not so much of space, even the position of those silos and the wall, so they couldn't get away from that. And once Team Falcons managed to use that Oscar against them, they just started falling down. Only Cold Chill was remaining, and there's not so much that you can do in a 1v2 situation.
Well, I mean, that's not it. And that's not the only part of the story, because I feel like EVOS Divine notoriously aren't a team that kind of plow through multiple teams at once. They're always, hey, I'll take you on. Okay, quick reset, and then we go back out again. And unfortunately, the call from Aim God was like, all right, we got to take a step back. Had they just taken a 0.5 moment to, hey, show some presence against them, maybe Falcons would be a little bit more hesitant to walk up or force them to use a couple of glue walls, get those resources out early.
Well, I think we need to see for the next matches because they need to keep they need to keep the same game that they did in this last one because I'm not sure if this will affect, for example, the Brazilian players. I think they can be like different from the next match, and I'm really anxious about it because I don't want to see this things happening, you know. But of course, we all had like high expectations from Team Falcons, and they really did it. They did an amazing job, actually.
I think not only an amazing job, but I think, you know, I feel like just based off of not only the landing zones, but a couple, even, you know, Alpha 34, taking their time, they denied points at the very end. So it feels like Latam as a region is looking to kind of download how everybody else wants to kind of move across the final few, especially those last 3 circles before anything else.
I mean, one thing I know for sure, especially for Falcons, they want to ramp up into points. And then after that first match, they will study the opponent. So I think there will be a slowdown on the next map. The other teams will be ramping it up, but they will just be like the Falcons, like flying through the sky. Like the eyes are on them, studying where they will be rotating, and then later on, we'll see more elimination.
Yeah, and it's good to add that they did like a bunch of eliminations. I think it was like 15 maybe. 15? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But it counts a lot. Like talking about points right now, it's really important to them. So they can be like slow in the next match. I think it's safe for them to do it.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you there because we see some teams. I think this is historically a Free Fire thing. Anybody that does well during the knockout stage never wins the tournament. Ooh. So, do you really want to do well during the knockout stage? Because you might be giving away too much information to your opponents, right? There's a lot of mind games that happen with Free Fire, and you need to be very careful to play good enough to make it through to the next stage, but not too good in that people figure out where you like to drop, how you like to play. It's a very scary time to be a Free Fire player, but we're looking at the best of the best here. So they're clearly confident in their skills. Raja, we are definitely going to have to keep an eye on the Brazilian teams, right? They're not happy with everything on Bermuda, but we're going on to Purgatory next. Is this a map that is a little bit more suited for the Brazilian teams?
I think Brazilian teams appreciate this type of, the classic ones. So in my opinion, Bermuda and Purgatory, they are the most classic that we have in our Free Fire. So I think they can be really safe. And I mean, the landing spots of the Brazilian teams are really good. But we just need to pray that no one try to get into our landing spots, since the Brazilian teams really didn't like a really good job in the last match. So I think it's good to consider, but I mean, it's difficult to say something about like if they will be good or bad. But well, I actually heard a lot about teams from Asia is studying our game, so that's actually true. So probably Brazilian teams, they are like studying too the games of the Asian players.
I can actually confirm on this, right? I think that, you know, even from last year's EWC, a lot of Southeast Asian teams were looking at how Brazil was ended up playing, because a lot of them were pretty shocked that most held their ground against them, and therefore now coming into the second year of EWC, they're like, no, this cannot happen again.
Well, survivors, it looks like we are ready to jump into game number 2. Purgatory is our next map here for Free Fire at EWC 25. Bring it over to our casters, Husky and AJ. Take it away for game number 2.
Thank you very much, panel, and I am in absolute agreement with Haja. Consistency is key, but I am worried for the Brazilians a tad bit here, because we see with our little eye what you guys do not see just yet, but we will keep the surprise for you in a little bit. You're back with your boys, the Mustachio and Husky. What a fantastic Bermuda showdown that was, but of course in game number 2, Husky, at Purgatory, neither heaven nor hell, these boys are about to be tested.
Hell have now Fury like a team that is hungry for the win, and I gotta say, Coming into game number 2, especially when we look at Purgatory as a map, one of the classic like Raja mentioned, but also one of the biggest that we have.
Yeah.
And usually it would instill the habit of teams playing slower, making bigger rotations, right? And it might benefit teams like Fluxo, AGAL, Team Falcons who have adopted that. As we hop into the map, we see the teams start to parachute out. VP is a team that loves Mode House, but for this map, Mode House is not a point of consideration because the flight path is pretty unforgiving.
Deadly, brother.
We are going south side, close to Central Fire Brigade and Lumber Mill. You know who's happy?
Yeah.
Team Falcons.
Yeah,
They
Falcons.
love it.
Absolutely. Fluxo, on the other hand, usually their drop spot at Mount Villa, they're going to try to potentially get there. Question is, because of this cute flight path, do they get some uninvited visitors here as well? Because we do see Pain Gaming heading in roughly that same direction alongside Core Memory KOG as well. Fluxo, once again, going to be trying to play the edges of the circle. We'll catch up with them in a little bit because for the time being, look at how spread out Falcons is out there.
This is insane. Falcons did their homeworks. Most of the time, if you take Lumber Mill, you take Lumber Mill.
Yeah.
But spreading out like this means that Team Falcons, they know exactly who they're going up against.
Absolutely, yeah.
Virtus Pro, they are still booking it close to the Mode House area because that's where they feel comfortable with. We see Force being taken by Vitality. Usually they might make a rotation to Ski Lodge. At least that's how they've been doing it for most of the time. Earlier conflict at Brasilia, we see Red Hawks, we see Alpha 34, and we also see Evo's Divine. Evo's Divine coming out on top in this early engagement. AF only getting 1, but 1 is not enough. Kochio actually throws his body at 1-7. He needs to clutch this out, but Mave got around him. It's not going to be easy. And he will be cleaned up. Evo's Divine off to a great start.
And Alpha 34, unfortunate for them. They only pick up 2 points after shutting down a couple of players from the side of Evo's Esports. But of course, that doesn't continue. Hot shots though, hearing all of those gunshots slowly circling in towards the compound of EWOS. Question is, do they survive? In the meantime, we also have Vision System. They got taken out a tad bit too earlier on in Bermuda. Can they survive long enough up against Red Hawks? Kudush says no. The Mag 7 to the chest. Yoda out of the equation already, and just like that, we see Vision System down in the dumps once again.
Red Hawks once more. An explosive start to the round. 3 points. Vision System completely crippled, bruised, and battered. They have to somehow recover. Good news is that unlike round number 1, they still have 1 survivor. But when you look at this replay from Red Hawks and Najat, really just right on the money with the trigger finger. Every single shot is coming through. Evo's Divine as well. Even off screen, we see Bobs taking a number for himself.
Yeah, and you know, a little bit unfortunate here for Vision System because we did see Shix getting aimed a tad bit earlier on. So Red Hawks know exactly where their opponents are. And the Bangladeshi squad is making a conscious choice to not go in here for the chase. Vitality, on the other hand, in a little bit of a pickle. They fly straight into AGAL. Those grenades doing heavy, massive damage alongside the FGL, but Koja stepping in at the wrong time, facing the M590 down onto the ground. Instant pickup thanks to the Tiva, but Kyong now put down onto the ground, and Vitality losing too many players back to back.
Yeah, Cypher is low, but not low enough to be knocked down. Vitality wants revenge, but AGAL is not gonna make it easy. They gotta work for it every step of the way. Koja getting knocked down once more by Chinoy as the numbers of Vitality dwindle. Diggs is number 4, and AGAL deny a revenge.
Oh, fantastic play by AGAL. They were the receivers in that battle. It was Vitality that came flying up straight against them, and a great opener from Cypher with that M590. But now hot shot up against EWOS, and unfortunately for EWOS, they are meeting their end very, very quickly because it was a double player reset earlier on. Hotshot just got 3 points off of them.
Good stuff for Hotshot. Taking out stragglers first in the long run will benefit you. And I think teams who are more experienced, right? We talk about the SEA and the Brazilian teams, they are willing to give away bodies for info because they will get that revive afterwards. But for teams like Hotshot, like Red Hawks, these points matter a lot.
Oh yeah.
We see Pain Gaming and Alpha 34 at each other's throat. Noda X gets knocked down but instantly gets brought back up to his feet. Revive for Evo's Divine once more. And fortunately for Goose is a bit isolated.
Yeah, Pain Gaming has got the advantage here up against Vision System. Can they get away? Pain Gaming, their debut at EWC alongside a couple of boys from the side of Vision System. Some of them do have a little bit of experience here at EWC 24. And because of the lack of numbers here, they are going to be in a little bit of a downside. Good time to pull down in the nick of time, but Gus steps out on the wrong side of it, gets nailed down to the ground. Peter, wrong gun for the situation, but thankfully they've got the numbers for backup. Maxi gets taken out, brought right back in.
Pain Gaming with 3 points, and they have finally quelled the aggression from Vision System, and Jigs unfortunately will just have to stay hidden. But early on, we saw a kill order put out on him by Virtus Pro, and they are hunting for that elimination.
And they're just right behind him. Unfortunately, I don't think Jigs is going to be surviving for any longer now. They'll have to catch up with him in a little bit. Fluxo, 2 points early game, flirting with the edge of the circle, heading straight in towards Maxi. They spot him out, butches in alongside MT7. That AWM, you ain't gonna get away that easy. Maxi gets snuffed out. And once again, Vision System on the back foot.
Core Memory right across, Jump taking a heap of damage. Now they're gonna try and spam that glue wall. It goes down. Jump trying to play some footsie work. Actually gets to cover, but Fluxo now kicks into high gear, running straight at Jump, but they have no idea where Cougar is just yet. Jump not able to buy enough time, and Bobs finds that knock.
A beautiful play with that XM8. Gets the headshot, puts Jump down on the ground instantaneously. Core Memory XKOG, they've got the numbers overall for the survival, but Cougar is in hot soup right now. Surrounded by the players of Fluxo. He's about to meet his end in a little bit. EVOS continuing their onslaught up against Hotshots, down in numbers. Rasia, does he have the snipe in hand? Has got the plasma gun, but nothing up against Action Squad. Has got the rate of fire, and Rasia gets knocked down as well. EVOS again on the back foot. 2 more survivors left out there.
There can only be 1 out of 2 Tigers on the top of the mountain, and so far the Pakistani Tigers is reigning supreme. Evil's Divine still in it with 2 members. Very, very crippled in terms of manpower as we are heading deeper into the mid-game. 7 minutes. Evil still has some time to bring the members back and restructure, but it has to happen quickly.
Virtus Pro not really hunting much out there, looking for those coins, still outside the blue zone, just tanking a tad bit of damage. This one's not going to hurt that too much just yet, but in 18 seconds they will feel the pain. But getting into the circle, and a double Arbon scan right in front of them as well. Those Dinoculars used well to find the rotation, but unfortunate for them, their Dinoculars didn't scan anyone, but players are rotating in towards their compound a tad bit later. They're about to be in for a surprise. X-Posse on that high ground. AWM VSK in hand. A double snipe setup for one of the most dangerous snipers, Motovia. Riptide Rhythm breaking down his defenses, and Ray from the back takes advantage.
And Ray should know that there's more than just Pain Gaming, because more than just Virtus Pro. Pain Gaming is right around the corner. This rotation for Team Falcon is also coming in from the southern side as we get a bit of a ceasefire on the northern part of the map. Airdrop collected once more, 8 minutes into the game. Sitting speed up, Ray. Can he navigate this? 3 different teams, 3 different players.
Diamond going in here for the hunt. A124 pop. Ray stood no chance. Woodpecker around the corner. Barely needed to use his M590, wasn't in shooting range, and no problem whatsoever. This is one of the deadliest tactics that the Thai squads bring onto the table. Everyone's a flex player. They've got the range for shot all along.
I think Aim God is Evil's Divine's last chance, because Kochu, he really wants to book it for the vending machine, but he's about to get surrounded by AGAL and Virtus Pro. We're going to check in on them in a little bit, because Fluxo now with 6 points are already doing so much better compared to Game 1 as they start to make that deep rotation towards the circle, but they're going to cut through the southern island.
I'm actually surprised nobody chose to hot drop Fluxo at Mount Villa, even though the flight path was leading everyone right there. Team's kind of playing it safe, and it is to the benefit of the Brazilian champions. They are most definitely looking to dominate out there once again. Driving straight in towards Core Memory, hopping out of their vehicle a tad bit too early here. Don's all alone, but some warning shots fired straight at them for him to rotate back in. But unfortunately for Don, man has got no backup.
Jump and Zenzi are on the other island. Like you say, backup is not going to come easy. There is a huge distance to cover. They actually put down the launch pad. Let's see what the call is going to be. Bobs will just order them to go towards the rest of Core Memory. Bobs realizing it's too late. They got to back agent activates. Zenzi finds punches in. Fluxo right into the fire, and they are out.
They had the right intention, the right idea. What they did not expect was for the rest of the core memory players to be on the opposite island. Shot them out of the sky like little ducks flying around. It's barbecue time later on for core memory, but the question is, can they get into the circle as well? We'll catch up with them in a little bit. Virtus Pro now in a 4v4 up against EVOS Esports. Virtus Pro, though, has got that high ground advantage. Both of them about to be pressured by the circle in 10 seconds.
The difference is that leverage, that bird's eye view that they have. But the levitation favors Virtus Pro. Arasia takes a big hit to the back, thankfully makes it out alive. The vest that he has, but for EVOS Divine, at least they could make that beeline straight into the circle if they want to. There is still some room to work with, but for Virtus Pro, if they can stall this out a bit more, it is going to be a nightmare for EVOS.
This is unexpected. Aim God, who was outside the circle, far away earlier on, now slowly circling in. He could just be the one that dismantles the squad. We'll have to catch up with this action between Virtus Pro and EVOS in a little bit. In the meantime, it's AGAL taking on their brothers from Thailand. Falcons, no eliminations just yet, playing the slower game this time round.
A lot of nades commitment. Sci-Fi is about to get flushed out, multiple ice grenades, and even Fragman showing his face. Sci-Fi needs to relocate. Gotta spend a couple of glue walls to make it happen. He is the first contact, but Chinoy gets blasted back on the fire. That is not within the playbook of AGAL, and now they get thrown into shambles. Falcons surrounding Sci-Fi from all angles. He needs to somehow hold on.
Yeah, Sci-Fi desperately holding on. M590 is the right weapon in his hand. Has got the inhaler as well to top his life back up just a little bit, and as he tries to burst himself out of there, Dew finds him, puts him on the ground. Barros though traded out, Dew being found. Final player on his feet for the side of AGAL, and Falcons about to eat another one right up. Limit with the VSK, that's the distraction. Riptide Rhythm breaking down the defenses as well, as Limit takes advantage with that long range capability. VSK finds a victim, and unfortunately it's the final player of AGAL.
Surgical as always. The circle now again shrinks with Pain Gaming against the Red Hawks. Pain Gaming taking the fight straight to the Bangladeshis, but not really sure if that's a right idea because Pain Gaming don't have the help to work with. Motovia, he stands back up, and the play zone is gonna knock him down again. Red Hawks are in an advantageous spot. Flicker just needs to play around this building and hold ground.
And Cougar's just hoping and praying nobody spots him out just yet. A back and forth between Peter and a player from the side of Red Hawks, but the pickup is instantaneous. They're playing the Thiva like a champ, and Pain Gaming now just trying to stay away from the rest of them as Red Hawks barricade themselves into the house, but the rest of Core Memory dropping on two of the roof, and Pain Gaming wiped out.
No rest for the wicked if you are Red Hawks. Core Gaming here, Core Memory here, clean up the mess. Dawn with the ice grenade, knocked out Ninja, jump gets flickered out, and that's already 2 for CXK. Number 3 comes right through. Red Hawks, they do not stand a single chance. Blade instantly dealt by jump, and Core Memory continues their warpath.
Yeah, an unfortunate run here for Red Hawks. They did phenomenally well up against Pain Gaming, but Core Memory just swooped on in, all thanks to the information Cougar gave away, sitting down on top of the roof, really comfortable, waiting for that opportune moment, and the jump pad leads the whole of Core Memory to their compound, and Red Hawks gets taken down as well. Not knocked down by the circle. They did have the Thiva, so picking him up shouldn't be too much of an issue. As Jump and Zenzi tries to get up the hill, but Rasia, unsuspecting outside the circle, tanking damage from the blue, pulls away a core person from the Core Memory Esports squad.
That's why you tie up loose ends. EVOS Divine. Now the fate rests all on this Wonder Kid.
Wow.
The new addition to EVOS Divine. We know what he could do. We've seen him in action even before he was legally allowed to play due to age restriction. And here he is. CXK with 12 points. They're not going to make it any further. Rasia also perished to the blue. We're down to just 3 teams.
Falcons Can they go for a back-to-back? 100% top 3 rate for this squad. Up against, believe it or not, Pakistan's Hotshot Esports and Virtus Pro. Virtus Pro, we expect Riptide Rhythm, courtesy of Pakistan, breaking down the defenses of Peter. Yet another Peter exposed, but has got enough glue walls to keep himself protected. The crossfire being set up here by the players right at the back. Unfortunately, Exposy tried to get involved. He will get involved and puts on fire and limit down onto the ground. Anas takes advantage, and Falcons getting mowed down by the 2 squads.
Such good tactics from Hotshot Esports. They knew exactly how to dismantle the defense of the Team Falcons. Anas is putting numbers on the board. Team Falcons are no longer in this game. 11 eliminations for Hotshot. The Pakistanis might have a chance to make a statement. It's them and Virtus Pro. It's the Polar Bear and the Pakistani Tigers.
Oh, Pakistan's in the butt, baby. It is 4v4, all equal on both sides. And Hasuex has got the right gun as well. And what a pull on that Cassie. Linking them up. Action is ready for a little bit of that. The Steffi blocking out the damage from those grenades as well. Brilliant play thus far from the Pakistani squad. Waiting to cut down the distance. Oscar breaking down a couple of defenses, but the super defense with those glue walls erected once again. And action missteps being put down to the ground.
Yeah, they take the fight straight to VP, but VP more than ready. And Anas exposed. Virtus Pro locks in. Booyah.
What a play. A little bit too aggressive from the Pakistani side, but that's exactly what we wanted to see out of them. They delivered. Virtus Pro just proving to be the better squad. Patience paying off towards the very end. A little bit unplanned with that Oscar, and that's one of the downsides of using that Oscar. The Valiant Dash, you got to be valiant enough to get a knock right after, but you never know what's awaiting you behind those glue walls.
And I think Hotshot Esports, they definitely have made a statement piece coming into this. Remember, it's not the goal isn't to finish number 1 in the group stage, is to just finish top 12. And this is going to catapult Hotshot Esports into a good position.
And not just them, right? Red Hawks performing like champions. I mean, a tad bit unfortunate in that bout between Pain Gaming as well as Core Memory Esports showing up. And, you know, once again, brilliant play by Guga as the guy that scouts out the situation, but had the wisdom to shut his mouth and not get involved. Waits for the backup, calls for the backup from the rest of the team members. They use the jump pad, landing on the roof, wiping out Pain Gaming from the back, and like champions, took the fight straight up to Red Hawks. And unfortunately, the Bangladeshi squad could not do much up against the barrage of grenades that found them in that house.
Overall, Virtus Pro showing us what this team is known for, right? The potential of Virtus Pro. You look back at the roster, aside from Saming, who is not playing in EWC 25, replaced by Huwarat. Previously, the first ever Mobile Masters, they were the champions. They were the first one to lock in a slot for EWC 24. And now with this Booyah, they're in an even stronger position.
Absolutely, man. Diamond, Kumara, Nameless, all jumping on in here. Brilliant plays overall, but of course he was a tad bit unfortunate. We'll have to wait to see what they can do later on. But of course, a quick short break. We'll come back with Game 3 in a bit.
Double kill.
ก็จะปรับการเล่นให้เข้ากับทีมมากครับไม่ได้อยากเล่นให้ตัวเองโดดเด่นครับแค่ทีมได้แชมป์ก็ดีใจมากแล้วก็ปีนี้เพิ่มผมมาในรับก็อยากได้แชมป์อีกรอบนึงครับรักษาแชมป์ตำแหน่งผมจะเป็นตำแหน่งสไนเปอร์ครับตำแหน่งที่โคบอยู่หลังที่สุดและก็เป็นตำแหน่งที่สำคัญที่สุดด้วยครับ
This is amazing. You cannot catch the man. In fact, he just wiped out a whole squad alone.
เป็นแชมป์อีกรอบนึงครับในวันใจของผมก็คือน่าจะการที่ยังไม่เคยได้แชมป์โลกครับแต่ก็เคยได้แชมป์ทุกอย่างมาแล้วเหลือแค่แชมป์โลกแชมป์เดียวครับที่ผมยังไม่เคยได้ก็เลยอยากได้แชมป์นี้มากๆครับผมแค่อยากจะทำให้แรปนี้เป็นแรปที่ดีที่สุดแล้วก็สร้างประวัติศาสตร์ของผมเพิ่มมาอีกก็คือแชมป์ผมจะทำให้ได้แชมป์อีกรอบ
ายไม่เหมือนใครนายพลาดนายคือบุญญาตัวจริง
ใจเย็นหน่อยเพื่อนนี่มันแค่สกิมนะเว้ย
มันมีเปล่า
มันจะกลับมารับนะเว้ย
ป้อมไม่น่ามีทั้งเงี้ย
ไม่น่ามีแล้วหน้าเรามีนั่น2 ตัว
ไหนละ
3เลยมันเปิดเต็มแล้ว
ลงไปซ้ายเฮ้ยออสการ์ชน
เฮ้ยโหลเฮ้ย70
มันเล่นนะเว้ยมาหน่อย
เอากัน
ดาวไปแล้วชิกู100
ร้อยหนึ่งโลดาว
เล่นต่อนะเว้ย100อีกดาวขวา
กูลากเป็นไร
สวย10 คิวเลือด
สวยแล้วเดี๋ยวแล้วเพื่อน
Welcome back to the panel, survivors. We've just wrapped up game number 2 on Purgatory, and things are just starting to heat up here at Free Fire at EWC 25. Gentlemen, ladies, my panelists, we are starting to get a better picture of how these teams are performing here at EWC, and so far there are a couple of things we're actually starting to notice. Raja, 2 things for you. Fluxo, not looking so hot, but you also have a team that you're kind of impressed by.
Well, Fluxo, it was for me. I think they are like kind of slowy. Well, they start getting some eliminations, but then they can just get inside of the safe zone. So this was like a huge problem for them. And Pain Gaming, it's like probably the same. They are kind of slowy, so that's not good for them because they need some points. They need to do elimination. So I'm hoping they can do it in the next match. And it's good to see Pakistan teams like doing that well. You know, we can see like Hot Shot. They got some eliminations and points, and it's really good to see because we are not expecting this, right, guys?
No, we went, and remember actually last year, Hot Shots almost made it through to the second stage. I think, Neptune, you would remember this. We were cheering for Hot Shots. We were on the panel saying, go Hot Shots, you're so close. And they might have fallen short last year, but it looks like they might be getting a little bit closer to actually making it to that second stage, Neptune. But Neptune, you don't actually look at Hot Shots. You are looking at Red Hawks. Tell us, like, what is it about Red Hawks today that's actually making them stand out?
Yeah, I mean, looking at Red Hawks right now, it doesn't look like a team that has been introduced recently to the international scene. Like how they play, how they move. I think they studied their opponents, especially from those in Southeast Asia, because judging from the movements, those are Southeast Asia teams' movement.
Well, I want to say that it's Southeast Asian, but I want to see them prove themselves one more time, right? One more map. If they can get another second place, if not find a booyah, then I'll have to agree with you. No choice. But I'm just sad that because teams like this, you're expecting them, oh, when they hot trap, when they start getting into fight, Red Hawks also included in this conversation, they're actually winning out their drops. Unlike Vitality, Team Vitality, please, we can't be botching up these engages like that, right? You see them get into that corridor, AG play it well, take their time, and unfortunately, the hot-blooded Indonesians, this time around, it costed them.
Yeah, I mean, Team Vitality, what we call the Falcon Hunters, it doesn't work here. I mean, they're close to their nest, they have their strength, and it's tough, really. But another team that I want to look into is the Booyah Takers in that second match versus Pro. They played it slow, not so much of elimination compared to other teams, but we just saw the match ranking, and they're #1, even ahead of Hot Shot. So Hot Shots was the elimination leader at that point, and it's just that Booyah moment that made that lead.
I feel like I think at least for me, the rotations are really good. And also the ring did pull in their favor. I'm not gonna lie. They had high ground for a majority of the game. But I think at this point, right, a lot of teams are starting to figure out, okay, sure, you may lose a couple of engagements here. Our mechanics can be a little bit better. But any mistakes from this point onwards, you're gonna need to, call a doctor to fix it up.
And talking about Booyah, that's the reason why it's so important, because our format, it's probably all about it. You need to get that Booyah. So it's good when you see like a team that can do it really well and can do like eliminations and get the Booyah.